Morning, everybody. It's Clutch from the Soyak Motorcycle Blog. Actually, it's evening when you're watching this because all my videos come out at 7 o'clock Mountain Time in North America. So if you're, I guess if you're in Asia or whatever, maybe it is morning. But so today we're going to talk about, you hear about this a lot when you're, especially motorcycling, you hear about the term a poker run. Well, today I'm going to try to kind of clarify that a little bit if you're wondering. So stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Clutch from the Soyak Motorcycle Blog, coming to you live from the North Pole.
Run. Essentially, a poker run is it's a big fundraiser. It's a fundraiser where you'll show up at, a lot of times it'll happen in a motorcycle dealership, popular biker bar, popular biker hangout, stuff like that. Basically, you'll start off there, you'll sign up. It's usually about, usually pay so much for a hand, and we'll talk about like the cost a little bit later. And you have a route, and you go around the route. You basically draw cards, do some kind of a task, whatever. At the end, you turn your card in. Usually the highest couple score gets some prizes. Sometimes you'll do a prize for the lowest hand as well. And they'll give away door prizes. So yeah, it's basically just a big giant fundraiser. From a motorcyclist perspective, it's just another excuse to get out and ride. Done. Well, like I said before, a lot of times they're mostly a fundraiser, either for a specific charity, specific event, specific activity. The one we just did, ours was for South Coast Service Dogs. We've seen them before for volunteer fire departments. Sometimes clubs will use them just for a fundraiser, just standalone for the club. It's kind of, usually, I mean, you don't see them as much for that. Usually there's some kind of a charity it's going for, but, and like I said before, it's another excuse to get out and ride and, spend some money for a good cause, and also go out and connect with your fellow motorcycle riders in the area. Do I need to know how to play poker? No. Depending on the kind of run you're on, now if you're organizing a run and maybe you want to do a traditional poker hand style run, then yeah, absolutely, you probably should know the rules of poker. But for the most part, you don't need to know. Really, your role is you show up, you pay your money, they give you a card, you follow the route, you do what you got to do there, and that's all there is to it. So, and yes, there's the gambling question comes up, and it all kind of depends on the state you're in. It seems like a lot of places it's not too crazy, but there's some times where some poker runs in some areas you got to do some kind of a task, like you got to go, I don't know, from A to B, or you got to do you gotta do some kind of a task to basically earn your card. And like I said, you don't need to know how to play poker. Sometimes they're not even poker cards. You'll see them where we got one in the area. It's called 21 Run, and basically you go to every stop and you draw until you either hit 21 or you bust or you stop before. That's basically your points. So basically you're paying a hand of 21, or kind of like blackjack, at every stop. I've seen them before where they'll do a chip run. Poker chip run, basically you'll go around, you'll draw different colored chips, and usually at the end they'll draw the chips for whatever the points are, so you don't really know how you are doing or what your points are until the end. So that's another way I've seen it done. You also see what's called the dice run. Same deal. You go to the stop, you roll the dice, that's your score. And some of them just do a straight point system. The way we do ours, we just did just a straight up easy point system, just to make it quick and easy to add everything up. Other places do play around a little bit with it, where some stops will have, the cards will have different values. So it all kind of depends on the run and what you're doing there. And they'll explain that when you get to a poker run. So yeah, like I said, knowing how to play poker, yeah, you definitely don't really need to know how to play poker. Really, you got to know what the rules of the run is, so you know how you're doing. So if it's where all the high cards are, get the highest points, and obviously that's what you want. And also too, most of your poker runs, you'll if you know what the points values are, they're going to put those in there for you as you're at your stops. So, like I said, you really don't need to know how to play poker. Talked about this before. What are the different types? And we did talk a little bit about the different types, different styles. You can see the runs run. Also, there's a term called guided and self-guided, and when you're doing a guided poker run, basically you show up, you register, usually about 2 hours registration time. They'll usually have a kickstands up, and basically you're with the whole group the whole time. Basically, the group you go around to every stop. You probably get some kind of a sheet you got to check off. Sometimes they'll draw, sometimes they won't. Basically, you're essentially with the group the whole time. You're not on your own. It's just you're with the big, huge group. And it kind of depends on the run. The other run that you'll see is a self-guided, and that's on you. Basically, they'll give you the sheet, you get the stops, and you have to go to the stops, either A, get a check mark, or draw your cards, and you make your way through that. Some runs, they'll do the draws all the way at the end. Other runs, they'll do a mix of both. I know with our run, we put someone out there to actually draw a card, but we also, if you missed a card for whatever reason, we let you draw it at the end. It kind of depends on, once again, who's doing the run and how they're doing it. So it's all about who's setting it up, kind of deciding how those runs go. Sometimes you'll see it posted in there, sometimes you won't, and sometimes you just kind of got to know about it. And if you're ever curious on a run, if it's guided or self-guided, just ask the question on like their Facebook announcement or whatever. Might get your answer. And once again, it kind of depends on the run. I'd say if it's a guided run, you probably kind of need to have one if it's a motorcycle run, just to be with the group. They might have you might be able to struggle at the end. But if you're doing a self-guided run, no, most of your runs anymore, most of them will do where you got an all vehicles welcome. So you have people that they'll just do the run in their car or whatever. We had quite a few that came to our run and did that. That they came in, they wanted to do the run, but either didn't have a motorcycle or didn't want to ride, or didn't want to risk the weather late on that day. So they just come in, decided, what, us a couple friends, we're gonna buy our cards and we're gonna cruise around in our vehicle and we're gonna get our cards. Really, in the end, from an organizer's perspective, generally for the most part, we don't really care what you're riding on. Basically, here's what we care about. We care about your $20 or whatever, so it'll go to charity. That's really in the end what we care about. We don't really, generally care what you bring. Now, it'd be different if we did a guided run, but like I said, it all depends on the run. Honestly, that's on you to decide whether you want to do it or not. I've seen all kinds of things at runs. I've seen runs where there's all the prizes, everybody wins the prizes and they all give them back. I've seen runs where nobody gives them back. It kind of depends. There isn't anything saying what you do and what you don't have to do. Obviously, that's going to be on you as to what you want to do. A lot of times, it kind of depends on, like I said, my mood, how I feel. Honestly, here's the thing. I've never actually won a poker hand. I've never actually placed at a poker run or got a prize. So, honestly, I couldn't really tell you until I'm sitting there holding it in my hand. I'll be honest with you, though. I mean, if I win a poker run and let's say the prize is $100, it'd be pretty hard for me to give $100 back. That's just, I don't know. It's $100. So, I think of, there's a lot, I can buy some food with that. I can, whatever, It all kind of depends on how you're feeling, what you're feeling. There isn't not something that necessarily says you have to give it back. But obviously read the room too. But yeah, I think you'd be fine. So prizes, let's look at about prizes for poker runs. It all kind of depends on the run. Depends on the run. There's some runs where some of your big ones, they'll go prizes for 1st through 10th. Other runs, they'll do 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and the last place. Some runs will do a 1st place and a last place. Kind of depends on the run. Also, you'll see a lot of runs where it's not, a lot of runs, it's not just the poker run money they're worried about either. Some you might see have a silent auction mixed in. Others may have door prizes mixed in. A lot of them you'll see they'll do what's called a 50-50 raffle, where essentially you buy so many tickets and it all goes in a pot, and 50% of that pot goes to the winner and the other 50% goes back to basically the charity or the club, whoever is doing it. Once again, it just kind of depends on the run. So there's a lot more than just going to the run and getting prizes and that. There's other things as well. It all kind of depends on, what the run is, how much the organizers want to put into doing all kinds of door prizes. Me personally, I've done both. We had door prizes when we did the run last year. This year we did just a straight up, just did straight cash, just the cash prizes. And that's all we did for first, second, third, and last. So once again, it kind of, like everything else, it kind of depends on the run. A lot of these questions they kind of have depends. And that's what it is. It depends on the area. It depends on the place you're at. Now, for example, in our state, let's say you're doing a poker run in, I don't know, down by Sioux Falls. It might be, it might be a 250-mile run or 200-mile run. And some of that's because, well, you got a long, flat, straight road. It doesn't take too long to cover 30 miles at going 65, 75 miles an hour. So you'll have longer distances there. Out here in the hills, generally a lot shorter. You see a lot of runs that run from the 130 to 150 range. Some will get up to 170. Kind of depends on the run and what the organizers feel like. But the thing is, around here, it takes a lot longer to do 30 miles on a curvy, twisty road that's got a speed limit about 45, and you can do about 55 on. It all kind of depends on where you're at in the route. Generally, what'll happen is, for the most part, you figure just plan on a day. A lot of your guided ones, generally, they'll kick stands up at like 11. Usually the prizes at 5. For the most part, most of the runs you'll see they're pretty much wrapping up prizes at 4 or 5 in the afternoon. I know around here, especially even when it happens at the Harley dealership, they generally like to get them kind of wrapped up and out of the way by like 5 o'clock, just so that the dealership has time to put things away. Like I said, it all kind of depends on, once again, what the organizer are doing it and how they're doing it. Generally, you're not going to see a lot of them that go like too awful long. Although I think we do have one in this state that starts on the eastern side of the state, and I think they have 6 or 7 stops, and the last stop is in Deadwood, and they're basically riding across the state for 2 days for their run. So that's a good long one. Another one I know of another one they do on the eastern side of the state is you get so many cards depending on how many miles you put on. So they'll give you, if I remember right, you register before noon. They'll read everybody's odometers at noon and basically kick them out. And then they need to be back by noon the next day. And they get their odometers read. And then if it was like 0 to 200, you got 5 cards. If you're under 200, 300, you got 6. Basically, it worked its way up till, I think, if you got 1,000 miles, you got like 15 cards or something like that, just to kind of maximize your chances of winning. I don't know how they scored it, but like I said, once again, it all kind of depends on the organizer. So you'll see some good long ones, but for the most part, they're generally, a good day affair. Generally they start at 10 or 11 in the morning and at 5 in the afternoon. So they're not too bad of a day, that's for sure. Once again, same old question. Most of these questions you can start with depends, but in my experience, generally you're looking at, like our run, we did 1 hand for $10, 3 hands for $20. Sometimes you'll see them where hands are $20 and you can buy a second hand for like $5, or hands are $20, your passenger's hand is $10. Once again, it kind of depends on the run and how they want to do it. The reason why we went 1 hand for 10 and 3 for 20 is partly because I could fit 3 hands on one of our scoring cards. Kind of set it up really so to kind of encourage hey, just, do the $20, buy the 3 hands, just make it standardized. But also, offering the 1 hand options, obviously not a bad idea either. It's, nice where, even if you got $10, you can still do the run. So that was kind of that reasoning there. And like I said, it all, once again, depends on who's doing the run and how they're doing it. I don't think it's particularly hard work. I wouldn't really consider it hard work, but what it is it's a little time consuming. It takes time. It takes some coordination. So for last year's poker, or this poker run we just had over Memorial Day, I think I was already planning it about July last year. I'm already started planning this next year's poker run already, just because there's just some tasks that I wanted to get done and out of the way. One of the biggest ones was getting the venue set, or at least our first venue. We learned this year that the Sturgis Harley-Davidson dealership here, or not Sturgis, the Black Hills Harley-Davidson dealership here in Rapid City. Those of you who have heard of it before, it's also known as the Rally at Exit 55. That's where that big setup is in Rapid City. And we learned this year that Black Hills Harley Davidson is kind of the key cog in the whole thing for our runs. So I've already reserved them to help us out for next year's run because it was that important to get them that I sent an email. I think we had it confirmed the Wednesday after this year's run. And it's one of those deals, it's never too early to start planning things out because it takes time. It takes time to, the plan and the run, you kind of got to figure out where you want to go. First of all, that's the first thing. You got to kind of figure out where you want to go. You want to figure out how many miles you got going to do, how many stops you're going to have, whether you're going to staff the stops or not, if you're going to do a guided run or self-guided run. Those are little things you got to figure out, and the earlier the better on those, especially when you're talking about the coordination piece, because now you got to go talk to those stops and make sure they're on board with it. In my experience, now granted, where I live, we're a lot more open, we're a lot more welcoming to, motorcycles in general, I think. And I mean, some aren't, but I feel like this area, it's just like having your business approach to go to host a poker run. That's kind of just one of those things that happens all the time because it's so prevalent around here. And we got enough places that are open throughout the summer that we can line up with. But some of those places you want to stop, they may not be open in the winter. So you got to do your planning and coordination the summer before, especially with our run because it's Memorial Day weekends when we do our run. And most of these places, these tourist traps, not so much tourist traps, but most of these seasonal places, Memorial Day, that Saturday Memorial Day weekend is when they open for the first time. So you got to be doing your planning and coordination the summer before. And essentially this year it's going to be no different. I'm going to be starting working on stops here probably in the next, month or so. I'll be right. I kind of know where I want to go already. It's just a matter of putting the stops together. The other thing you have to figure out is, what charity you want to donate it to, or do you want to do it just to make money for your club or whatever? You want to figure that out right away. Also, you want to make sure you got the people to support it. So, especially if you're going to do a self-guided run, you got to have the people to support it. And if you're doing 5 stops, you need about 5 or 6 people. And you need to understand that when you sign up for this run, to work this run, you're going to be working it. Like this is, you're committed to it. So, and you might want to have some backup plans as a just in case. One thing you could do too is if you spread out your stops enough, you can kind of work your first couple stops, they work the end stops, and vice versa. There's just a lot of things you can do with that, and that's really the toughest part of it, is coming up with. It's easy to find a route. It's not too terribly hard in my experience, to work with hosts and hope people to host you either. I think the biggest issue, the biggest bear of it is just getting your manpower to show up to help out with it, and I think that it doesn't matter where you're at, doesn't matter what your organization does. That's just going to be reality no matter what, because we hear it all the time. Everybody's busy, blah blah blah. We get it. So like I said, that's the manpower piece is it's the thing that always stresses me out the most when we're trying to set up our poker runs is making sure that we got the manpower to cover everything and we're good to go. That's the thing that always worries me is, the day of the run, something comes up with everybody and now it's like there's only 2 of us to work the run. We've never had that issue, but, those are always the things that I do worry about. So bottom line, poker runs are great, and honestly, in my mind, they're a good fun. They're a good way to connect with your fellow motorcycle riders in the area where you live. It's just a great way to go out and network and just go meet some people that got similar interests to you. And if you're looking to maybe get in some clubs or whatever, it might be a good place to start. Kind of start hanging out. Maybe just making yourself known to some of the local area clubs or whatever you're interested in. It's a great way, like I said before, it's a great way to network with the other riders in your area. And like I said, it's an opportunity to go ride motorcycles, and you don't have to sit there and figure out where you want to go. Someone else can just tell you where to go, and you can just follow a good route, and hopefully they'll give you a good route. I mean, obviously there's some things to keep out for. You do see a lot of runs where they kind of become just runs where that's all they're doing is going to the bar and back, and you don't necessarily gotta, you don't have to partake in the drinking if you don't want to. You're obviously, everybody's comfortable with what they do. If you have issues with that, obviously I would avoid any kind of guided run, but self-guided runs, at least you can kind of stay away from all that. So that's one thing you might want to keep in mind. But other than that, just go to them with an open mind. Go have some fun. Don't get so hung up. I would recommend don't get so hung up on the details of, oh, well, it's not a, I don't want to do it because they're not doing like an actual poker run. You know, really, if that's keeping you away from a poker run, maybe you just don't want to go and you're looking for excuses not to go that are stupid. But in the end, doesn't really matter, because here's what matters. Go in, pay your $20, support the charity that you're supporting, and you can ride your motorcycle, have a little fun. You can also feel good about yourself and also know you're doing some good at the same time. So, but anyways, I don't have any further alibis. Anybody's got any other, anything else they want to say about poker runs, go ahead and put them down there in the comment section. Once again, I'm Clutch from Stoic Motorcycle Blog. Feel free to like this video. If you like this video, like this video. If you don't like this video, hit the dislike button. New videos come out every Thursday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time here in North America, so make sure and check that out. But if you don't want to do that, you can also hit that bell notification icon and be notified of future videos. Also, mostly above all, please hit that subscribe button. I see you out there. I know the great majority of you that watch my videos are not subscribers. Just come on. Be cool. Be cool. Hit that subscribe button. Just here, tap it right now. Go. Tap. What is it? It's down there. So hit it. Come on. Hit that. Do it. I'm not leaving here till you do it. No, I'm just kidding. But please consider subscribing. We would greatly appreciate it. Also, like I said before, make sure you leave some comments in the comment section. And for the Stoic Motorcycle Blog, I'm Clutch, and we'll see you next time.